Sensei Mish here with a new episode of Kyusho Korner. In fact, actually, this is going to be a behind-the-scenes episode. I have a couple of these planned. We're going into season 4 and getting ready for it during our little break, and even kind of during the past seasons. I've gotten some instant messages and some emails saying, "Hey, where do you get your reference material? How do you put the show together? You're an idiot." So I want to answer some of those questions. Of course, I respond to each message, but to kind of give everybody else an idea of where I come from, I want to put these together. So this first episode, I want to talk about my reference material. Now, I've been doing martial arts for a long time. It's been, I think, November of 1990 is when I actually started officially training in martial arts. And then about a year or so later, I was introduced to Kyusho and Ryukyū Kempo, and that's kind of been my primary focus ever since. So a lot of my reference material has been in training. I mean, it's, I end every episode with, play, have fun, be good to your uke, because I encourage you guys to take this information and play with it. I give you a point, see if it works for you. If it doesn't work, well, we'll kind of troubleshoot that later. Maybe it's something, maybe I'm not teaching the way that you learn, or maybe it's something that you're doing wrong. I went through that same thing. I'd go to a seminar, whether it was Dillman or Klein or whoever I went to, and it was just like, oh, well, I can't get this to work for me. I mean, it took me forever to figure out how to knock somebody out, So, so that's my first reference is just me being active in the martial arts, getting my hands on people, and that's important. That's probably the most important. Now, when it comes to, now me, my brain is only so big, I probably forgot most of the information that I was taught along the way, and it really comes back down to principles. So when I do each episode and I give you, the polarity and, what elements it has and angle and direction and all that kind of stuff, for me, I've been doing it so long, and I'm sure some of you can also respect this, that you're doing a technique or a style so long that you just do it because it's just part of you. It's become part of who you are and how you. And so it's like, okay, well, if I'm going to teach this, how do I teach it? I got to back up and figure out the step by step by step. So, and that's kind of what I'm doing with these episodes. So, when I go, okay, well, shit, what polarity was that? Okay, I got to look that up, or maybe I forget. What elements, so. I've kind of gotten away personally from the elemental thing, but I want to have these as complete episodes, so I have to look that stuff up. So let me show you first my library. Essentially flipping the camera around, we're still in the dojo. This is my library. I have more books inside, but this is kind of the bulk of when it comes to martial stuff. If we look at this top row, I was, like most people back in the, 80s, 90s, we all started off following George Dillman because you got to give him credit for really pushing this information out to the masses. So I have his first 3 hardbounds. Those I have in softbound. I've used these books so much over the years that, of course, the binding started falling off, so I had to have them spiral bound so they wouldn't completely fall apart. Originally, as I was growing up, I really used this stuff. Sometimes I reference this. If we want to look at a Dillman book, if you're interested in really getting Dillman's information, this book right here, Pressure Point Fighting Secrets of Ryukyū Kempo, this is version 2 of his second book. For technical reasons, I think that they couldn't reprint the second book, so they created this. This is an awesome second version. I do use this for reference, both for the show and while training. The very first book I ever really picked up while I was training, and I still use this today, especially when I start focusing on points that that I've never used before, which season 4 we're really going to get into, is this book. Now, this is Fundamentals of Chinese Acupuncture. This is an acupuncture book. This is not a Kyusho, quote unquote Kyusho book. But this has, when you're looking for points, point information, location, not necessarily angle and direction, but if you're going to be if you're going to be training in points that you've never played with before, angle and direction comes with training. That comes with playing. But if you want a good location book, this is the book to get. This book right here, Martial Science Pressure Point Atlas by Master Michael Patrick. Master Patrick is with Dragon Society. This book is basically a martial version of this book. Some good information there. I use this as reference as well. You can tell I've taken it off so I can get to each place pretty easily. Another book I like that I saw. Okay, so Essential Anatomy for Healing in Martial Arts by Mark Tedeschi. This is actually, and I'm probably pronouncing that name wrong, and I apologize, no disrespect. This is actually a pretty good book. I use this for reference as well. We've also got, since we're still up here, we've got the Western Bubishi. This is a great book. We have the actual Bubishi, I mean, not the actual one, but this is the translated one by Patrick McCarthy. This is also a good book to have. But pretty much, you can see I have books on different topics from different, all from different authors. You don't have to be just a Dilmanite. I mean, it doesn't matter what instructor you're learning from. Everybody has something to give to this art, or really any art. So, even here, this is, Grey's Anatomy, something that I sometimes reference, whether, and then, I've got books on Qi, all that kind of stuff. So these are just some of the physical references that I go to. Let's go to my computer and I'll show you one of the programs I'm starting to use now for my personal training. All right, we are now inside. This is my computer, my little workstation. So I use on the computer this program called Complete Anatomy. If we can get that kind of focus up. There we go. So let me click on that. Now, of course, I'm using this on a Mac. I know Sensei Klein, he uses this on an iPad. I'm pretty sure that this program can come on a PC, but I am not for sure. But this is actually pretty cool. So this is, it's not designed for, Kyusho people, but Kyusho people can totally use it. I've been playing around with it. Now, let's focus up on, oops. Let's focus up on the head here. So I try and keep the camera steady. What's really cool is that I can turn the body around. But say we focus on the head, and then let's add some nerves. So we can go down here, and then you can see us add nerves. Now, we did cover the mental nerve in a previous episode, but as you can see, as my cursor's right here, I can click, well, no, there we go. See how it changes color? You can see up here in the left-hand corner, it says mental nerve. And so that's, so it kind of shows where all that, how that is. That looks at the other side. We can actually isolate, just that portion. So we can come over here, and kind of look at it. We can look at it here from all different little views just by kind of clicking, but then we can also kind of move it around, and then, but we can kind of see how it comes through the little hole, we can slips down there, how it V's off, where these different, you know, where different other little pressure points on the face could exist. So let's go back. Oops, wrong button. Let's go back. And so, so I'm using this as part of my personal learning tool as a new way to actually see the body. This is actually a very, very cool tool if you can get a hold of it. Anyway, so this, I might actually start using this in some new and improved episodes. Maybe not open to the public, but might be available only on the website. So there you have it. That's where I get my my reference. Most important, personal training. Use books, use computer. So there you go. Not much to it. It's just basically what do you have in your library and what do you have access to. You might have to borrow a book. Doesn't matter who you train with. Doesn't matter who the book comes from. Yes, there is some bullshit information out there, but not all of it is bad. So, until next time, play, have fun, and always be good to your uke. I'll see you on the next video.